Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you right there, all of you, are listening to a Radulich Broadcasting premiere podcast, Damn You Hollywood. And here's your host, Robert Winfree. Yay!
Yeah, you get a double this week. You'll get a double next week too. That'll be interesting. For those of you joining us, we are Damn You Hollywood. I'm Robert. That's Mark, and joining us again is Alexis Hejna. How you doing, Alexis?
Doing well. Got Cleo behind me, already dropping her toys on my feet.
On the plus side, I feel confident we're going to get the 22-minute podcast tonight.
Not unless you want to get into a lengthy discussion about how they got the celebrity that they did to voice the teddy bear in this movie. Because I'm assuming you did see who voices the teddy bear in the credits.
No, go ahead. Well, first,
that's Seth Green.
We're talking about Black Friday, which was a Canadian film, I think, of some description or other. Not a lot here. It was produced by the MFW Manufacturing and the Warner Davis Company, and then distributed by Screen Media Films. And it came out November 19th, and almost immediately went to PVOD. I think it was PVOD either yesterday or today.
It was yesterday because I was looking for it since the 19th. Like, okay, I gotta rent this thing. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
It is getting a limited theatrical release. I forgot that we were reviewing this week, and originally I was going to go see this on Black Friday because that's when the local, more indie movie theater is showing it. So a friend and I are going to go see it, and I haven't told him actually that I've already reviewed it. So
I'm sure you'll be able to feign surprise in all the right places.
So I took this on. This was your pitch, Alexis. This was your idea. You know, it was Bruce Campbell, splat stick, zombies, fun Christmas time horror movie. And you were like, hey, you know, we gotta do this because it's Bruce Campbell. And I said, sure, why not? It's a light week. We can get this in there. I enjoy it, and especially because I enjoy doing stuff off the beaten path. And who even knew this was out there if you're not like a big time trailer follower? But go back again now. There's a teddy bear in this thing. Was it like Dower Dennis? Dower Dennis. Yeah. Go again with the bear.
Yeah, I am slightly convinced that this movie got made just because somebody had the idea of a talking teddy bear that said nothing but passive aggressive shit. And the whole script just ended up getting built around that, because one of the recurring themes of this is this thing takes place at a toy store.
Mm-hmm.
And when they start, they mention that, was it Dower Dennis? I thought it was Dower Doug.
No, Dennis.
It was Dennis. Okay. Yeah, there's a teddy bear called Dower Dennis that's being recalled because apparently the battery malfunctions and this thing bursts into flames.
Mm-hmm.
Which part of me is sitting there going, so how many children found that out the hard way before the recall was issued? And this bear just
children in not the United States, so no one cares. Is the corporate answer for that?
Thank you, Disney. So that's
Monday.
Yeah, this bear just keeps showing up throughout the movie. It has no bearing, pun not intended, on the plot.
Hang on.
Robert, I gotta know, do the rest of the network executives hate me for introducing that clip to him?
There's no executives.
Good answer. She's asking you if the rest of the putzes we record with hate me because of that. And the answer is no. We all think it's hilarious.
No, I was asking if they hate me because I'm the one that sent that clip to you because you said you couldn't find one.
No, look, we might hate some of the things Mark does. We freely acknowledge there's no, like, if you hadn't sent him that we would have a worse clip of something like that. So you make the best of what you got.
Okay, so I guess we're at least going, well, at least it's Pinkie Pie.
So you were saying.
Yeah, like I said, so this stuffed toy just keeps showing up, and I was just like, and throughout the movie, I was just going, what is the point of this stupid talking bear? And yeah, I checked the credits. It's Seth Green, who apparently has history with the director. The director actually was a producer on Seth Green's directorial debut.
That's fun.
So I guess he called him in as a favor. It didn't sound like him.
No, I wouldn't have known that at all. So I've been dying to ask you, since you brought up the bear, and then we can jump into the movie. Clearly it's a takeoff of like Teddy Ruxpin, which was a toy from when I was a kid. Speaking of nostalgia, and the way
Teddy Ruxpin too.
The way the thing operated was with cassette tapes.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody told me, and I don't know how true this is, maybe you know, that you could actually record over the Teddy Ruxpin tape. And like you could make the Teddy Ruxpin say anything you wanted to. Because, yeah, you see the trouble you could get into. If that is indeed true, that's more of what I'm asking.
Oh, you never found the YouTube videos of Teddy Ruxpin mouthing along to Metallica, did you?
I have not, no.
Although I'm sure you're going to look that up as soon as we're done.
Maybe while you're doing the plot synopsis.
Yeah, no, trust me. I have heard horror stories of like older siblings putting cassette tapes in Teddy Ruxpin that, you know, when you're little, you assume that the tape in there is, you don't put the tape in there yourself. And then, yeah, Teddy says some interesting things.
There is a long storied history, at least in America, of people messing with talking dolls and trying to get them to it is the entire like inspiration for the Child's Play movies to one degree or another, is this idea of let's take an innocent child's toy and corrupt it beyond all recognition.
I still remember the news story they did about people swapping out Barbie's voice box with G.I. Joe's voice box. So then you have this little boy clutches G.I. Joe and he goes, "Let's go shopping."
Robert, go ahead and say what you want to say, but then go back to me because I have to now tell you a story about my daughter and Barbie. Go ahead.
I feel like what we need to do for Mark is to get him a Teddy Ruxpin, but it's all wire quotes.
That would be hilarious. So I was telling my daughter about the talking, and then literally go into the plot synopsis as soon as I take a breath. I was telling my daughter about the talking Barbie doll that got recalled because it was sexist.
I forgot about that. God.
Was this the one that said math is hard?
That's the one, and that's the quote.
But look, math does suck. It's not
okay. But the implication being girls are dumb, Barbie's dumb, Barbie can't do math. That's the problem there. And I don't know how we were talking about this. She brought up something, and I was like, "Oh, they did something like that once. Like, they did a talking Barbie doll, and it literally. Oh, I know why. I brought this up because Lily actually legit was struggling in math, and she just kind of blurted out. And I was telling her, I'm like, you got to do your homework, you got to work with your mother, you got to not fight with us on this, you gotta. And she goes, but math is hard. And I looked at her and I went, okay, Barbie. And
I bet the little feminazi there loved that.
Oh, shattered her beyond all recognition. And then I had to explain to her what talking Barbie was, and she immediately like got all self-righteous and indignant about the whole thing. And I went, "You just literally told me math is hard. I don't want to hear it."
Never mind that that's the single most relatable thing to your life that could possibly have come out of Barbie's mouth.
And with that, Black Friday.
I remember being little and not thinking that was sexist because I hated math too growing up. So I'm like, what? Math is hard.
I'm sure when they did it, that wasn't it wasn't like a bunch of guys smoking cigars evilly going, how can we make girls look like assholes? Like, okay, we'll make Barbie doll say this.
Look, there's plenty of worse things that could have been said as opposed to math is hard, which is something
can't wait to be pregnant. I mean,
I was gonna say, didn't we get all that out of the Talking Malibu Stacy episode?
Yeah, like there were so many in that. And to go with math is hard, like 80% of the planet agrees with that sentiment. You can make G.I. Joe say math is hard, let's just shoot something.
So, Loki.
You brought it up, Mark.
I want to move on now.
Ow!
You don't get to ignore the consequences of your actions, Mark.
An hour later, if we're still talking about the 2-second story I told, we need to move on.
It's not. Yeah, there's a little timer up there. It's not been an hour. All right, so Black Friday. This is not going to be a long plot synopsis.
It's like less than 3 freaking paragraphs on Wikipedia. Oh, by the way, Mark, make a note. Yes, Google search Teddy Ruxpin Metallica. I've got at least 4 videos here off the top of somebody screwing with their dolls.
Nice. All right, so Black Friday follows a group of beleaguered retail employees at a toy store on Black Friday.
Has anyone here actually worked retail on Black Friday?
Yep. All through high school and some of college.
Yep.
This was the tamest Black Friday of my personal experience. So it follows this group of people at a toy store in the midst of a horrible world-ending event as a bunch of meteors crash into the Earth that deposit some biological entity that infects humanity and inspires them to gather things and other bodies and then to coalesce into these gigantic monsters. Is basically that you become a biomass monster. Is basically how that goes.
This is more clever than just, oh, look, zombies.
I did appreciate that. I'll get into that in a second. So the toy store opens, havoc ensues, the plague spreads to our little band of adventurers. Some of them die, some of them don't. We get the bit of moroseness. This is more about character than plot, as far as what we're going to talk about, I think, because the plot is, again, the zombies show up, the zombies start gathering and building. A few of our protagonists die. One of them thinks he's been infected, but he hasn't. They stage an escape. The building catches on fire. They all wind up in the park. The remaining ones wind up in the parking lot as the giant turkey-like monster rears up. I have to believe that was intentional. Like this thing is
It looked
too
like
bird-like.
it looked like a turkey was put in a blender with 1980s thing.
A little
thing.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, the way the mouth was, it had the double mouth that was kind of breaking apart.
Mm-hmm.
That reminded me very much so of the way that they find the thing frozen in the ice in the Kurt Russell movie.
Yeah, there's a few different times when they find something akin to that. They're able to kill the one coming out of their toy store when they inadvertently slingshot a forklift into its head. Our remaining band of plucky adventurers go out for pancakes. At the moment, still blissfully unaware of the other kaiju monsters that have spawned and are now roaming around the countryside that we see in the background. Again, the degree to which you want to talk about stuff in this movie, the practical effects, I rather enjoyed. I thought they made the most of their very obviously limited budget. I think, unfortunately, it did lead to some slightly underwhelming finale where they clearly just didn't have the ability to do anything fun with that creature. Which is kind of a shame because it's not a bad-looking creature. Like, there's a few of the practical makeup and creature effects in this movie that are quite good.
It's probably the most. There's one other element, but as far as the stools on the table, the legs on the stool rather, the practical effects are probably the big star of this movie.
They really are great. We get some excellent transformation scenes of some of the humans turning into the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We get a bit we have a new employee named Emmett who has been lovingly volunteered as first red shirt, and we see he gets infected. For the record, whoever designed the infection scene clearly has seen the videos of those proboscis worms. You ever seen those?
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah, those are semi-disturbing. It's one of those things where you go, oh my God, that thing is from Earth. Ew. Yeah, I hate those. Because that's exactly how these monsters reinfect. It's a proboscis.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we watch Emmett get transformed and he becomes less and less human. And they almost have, it's like a beak, but it's teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre, but it looks cool. It's really unique.
Yeah, it's almost a shame that these kinds of creature effects are wasted on this movie. And I don't say that to be overly negative, but they had some really cool ideas that went into this and some really cool effects. And it's a shame that the budget was such and the time constraints were such that they couldn't do anything really interesting with them, because those are some nice looking monsters.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. I watched it first thing this morning, and I enjoyed it for what it was. It was entertaining. Bruce Campbell, you guys have more of an affection for him than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him from the Evil Dead movies. I've watched them. I reviewed them with Sean a couple years ago and Gavin, but I don't have the emotional attachment to this guy that you guys seem to. But he is really great in this, and I do enjoy his characterization as somebody who found the slightest bit of power managing a toy store and went crazy with it.
Can Can I just say that with the mustache he was wearing in this, he
Mhm.
reminded me of the first store manager I worked for when I worked at Kmart.
Yeah, I have to say
And I mean that as a compliment to Campbell's acting
Mhm.
and a huge diss on that idiot who was so incompetent he actually got fired.
Well, I want to talk about the writing for a second because I thought the writing of this was uniquely good in the sense that, like, in terms of plot, it's kind of, it's a zombie movie, whatever. But in terms of like character relationships and
Yeah,
how people behave, characterizations, I
yeah.
actually thought this was extremely sharp writing. Like this was
Definitely.
There's better characterization here than there was in a few number of blockbusters we've reviewed. Now, again, I'm not saying
Yeah.
dialogue writing,
Mhm.
but if we're talking characterization, most of the characters here are stronger than the characters in. I'm blanking on the name of the movie. I'll find it. Doesn't matter.
Transformers, Bad Boys.
Bad Boys for sure.
It is interesting that they seem to avoid a lot of serious characters, even though that these characters are tropes. They actually avoid a lot of the tropes that we would see with them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what this definitely avoided, to its credit, was stereotypes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and here's really like how the best way I can sum this up. If you were to tell me that zombies really attacked a toy store on Black Friday, how would people behave? I would believe people would behave this way. I believe people would behave the way they were behaving before all that happened. The guy who got laid off and was there for 10 years, but it was, clearly a macho, masculine guy, hitting on younger women and bullying the beta male people. The guy, with the OCD and the always washing his hands and being germophobic. I've seen people like that.
Yeah,
They
you're not
behave
gonna-
that way.
You have the suck up who constantly wins Employee of the Month.
Right.
You have the assistant manager who's a little bit power hungry and a little bit like they're always the one that can
You have
go
the
either way.
you have the elderly employee who probably got fired a couple of years ago and then just showed up, and everyone was just like, okay. Because I have to admit, what was her name? Ruth?
I think
I think.
so.
Yeah, the way she just kind of said things, I'm like, you're not actually employed here, are you? You got fired, you showed back up, and you're too freaking gone in the head to realize you're not getting a paycheck anymore.
Robert,
And
go ahead and finish what you were saying before. You started in on something and I lost you halfway through.
I don't think I think I just agreed that her name was Ruth.
No, before that. Okay, doesn't matter. If you can't remember.
I think I was just agreeing with you guys about the character.
You started to
writing.
talk about the characters is what it was. You got as far as the assistant manager who's power hungry and
yeah. The assistant manager like that. They always feel like they can go either way. And I don't mean orientation wise. I mean like 1 minute they're a management shill, the next they're kind of like, I know this sucks, but it's okay. Like they're always kind of riding that line. You have the maintenance worker that nobody wants to mess with because he's large and burly and doesn't have time for your crap.
I liked him in this. We've seen him in a bunch of other things. He's sort of hit and miss. That is Michael Jai White.
Yeah.
You don't mess with Michael Jai White. That was the first guy to play Spawn, and I don't care how bad that movie was. He was really good in it.
He's got a couple of really good roles here. He was in the Tyson TV movie as Mike Tyson.
He was in The Dark Knight. He was the gangster that the Joker kills with the "Why So Serious" speech.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He's been around for a while. He's a guy that pretty clearly, like post 90s, couldn't accept that he wasn't a leading man, and so he did a bunch of direct to DVD crap.
Mm-hmm.
Because he'd rather be number 1 on the call sheet than number 7 on the call sheet in a bigger movie.
At least he's still getting work. He's a good actor.
Him and Wesley Snipes.
I was gonna say he's been in a bunch of stuff just this year alone. He was a voice actor. He was Bronze Tiger in Batman: Soul of the Dragon. He was in Assault on VA-33, Take Back, Send It, Rogue Hostage, and now Black Friday.
Again,
he gets work.
Look, he does he does the Steven Seagal kind of stuff at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to look. I think Michael Jai White is probably a more legitimate martial artist than Steven Seagal for whatever that's worth.
He also knows how to keep the weight off and not hire body doubles like Steven Seagal.
Very much so, but he does a lot of that. Oh, I know this. I'm not surprised this exists, but I never would have seen it, kind of stuff. So,
Oh, Alexis, what else did you want to talk about with this movie?
Makes me wonder if he and Nicolas Cage had the same accountant. Like that kind of stuff, you know.
Speaking of Nick Cage, Robert, have you seen the trailer for Prisoners of Ghostland?
I have not. I think I need to finish
my
Color Out of
God.
Space now that I think about it.
Oh my God, this movie looks insane.
Insane good or insane jujitsu? We'll have to wait and see. Like, there's no real indicator, huh? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Just go see the trailer.
I might take that flyer.
No, like they do really avoid a lot of stereotypes. You got the lead Devon Sawa, who, sweet Jesus, makes me feel old. Devon Sawa was a teen heartthrob back in the 90s, and I had the biggest crush on him. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I thought he was gorgeous, and now I'm seeing him, and they're like, "You're almost as old as my dad." I'm like, "Shh, oh God, don't say that, please."
You want to really feel old?
No.
I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have the 20th anniversary of The Fellowship of the Ring being released in theaters.
Okay, actually, here's a bit of unusual casting. The female lead, Ivana Baquero, I think is how you pronounce it. That's the lead from Pan's Labyrinth.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Now I would not. Now I feel old.
Spanish actress.
Good for her.
Flawless American accent.
She's really good in this.
She definitely had the accent down. Would not have pegged her as having been Ophelia.
I really liked her in this. I thought she had really good chemistry with the other cast members. In so many of these kinds of movies, I tend to think that particular character is grating, but she never was. Like she doesn't have any lines that got on my nerves. She doesn't have any behavior that I was just like, no, feed her to the zombies. Like she's genuinely a female in a movie like this that I would root for and want to see survive. Which, given the track record of movies like these, is pretty incredible. They usually make some pretty detestable female characters, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just a failure of ability to write, or the people writing them just hate women. I don't know which one it is, or somewhere in the middle.
It's usually a failure of writing more than it's usually more incompetence than malicious.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, even go back to Ken, the main character, we see that he is divorced and he's dropping off his kids because he's with his ex because he's got to go work Thanksgiving, and we see he's a bit of a drunk. And normally so many directors and writers would write this guy as unlikable and his kids can't stand him and he's very, detached from his family. And, in this movie is the wake-up call of, I have so little time on this earth and I need to reconnect with my kids. No, he's a wonderful father. His two daughters love him, really aren't fans of their stepfather.
Well, with that sweater. I mean, we never see them. We never see the guy speak a line of dialogue. All we have to go on is that one appearance. And with that sweater,
the line about Axe body spray.
Yeah, guys, if you're over 21, stop. Just stop. You deserve better, and so does everyone who has to be in close proximity to you. If you're a teenager and you stink out to high heaven, you need something powerful, fair enough. Once you get past puberty, come on.
You don't get past puberty till 21?
You know what I mean.
I was going to say, I knew in Utah you guys kind of slowed down how long it took you to finally get through puberty, but that's saying something.
I'm just willing to extend a couple of years grace period for just having a bad habit at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, no, these are all really.
I feel like Mark is desperately trying to move the Axe body spray away from where we might see it on camera now.
No, I don't wear any of that crap. I just more of like yesterday. It's so funny because like yesterday with Ghostbusters, yeah, we all had a lot to say, and and it was not so much a fight for time, but we all definitely we spent 2 hours on it. We had a lot to talk about, and here I'm like, I don't have that much to say. I'm going to let Robert and Alexis really have at this. And I go to look away and I'm kind of like listening with one ear. I'm like, why are they talking about Axe body spray?
Because one of the characters is said to use it. Look, this is a perfectly acceptable B movie.
Yep.
And I understand there's a degree of people who can't reconcile that even on B movies there's a scale. And desperately try to figure out why they like something that's not objectively good. And I hate those people because you're distorting reality to try and fit your sad cognitive dissonance, which I really wish you just get over by now. But I mean, this isn't even necessarily a B plus. If you wanted to lean that way, it's on the creature design and it gets strong characterization. But the dialogue isn't especially great. It's not bad, and it could have been very bad. So to that degree, the writers do deserve praise. But it's also, it just kind of exists. I half wonder if there wasn't if you couldn't, with a few more passes through editing, come up with something a little bit better than this. But then again, you're talking about a zombie, quasi-zombie invasion in a toy store on Black Friday. Like, there's a ceiling on this.
In retrospect, I wish we, in retrospect, this would have been a bit better done in review format as a triple feature with Willy's Wonderland and another kind of movie of this kind of ilk. Because you're right, this doesn't really lend itself to really hardcore deconstruction. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I don't mind talking about it, but it's hard to. But after you sort of praised the fact that even for a B movie, it's well constructed, what else is there to say? And then it's like, well, now let's talk about Willy's Wonderland.
I think if the only thing I would have changed was I feel that there could have been some more fun with essentially the line between the jackass customers and the zombies. We do get a little bit with some of the customers acting a little weird before that one attacks Chris, the germaphobe, and then he has to basically beat her to death with Barbie's little pink Corvette. Or whatever the hell that was.
I think you're right. We get another 3 minutes of things of the situation escalating. I need the assistant managers to go, no, don't call the cops. It's not that bad yet. And then a fist fight breaks out. And no, we can security, no police. They'll have to shut us down.
Here's the only other thing I want to add. This didn't. If I have any criticism like Alexis, I think I would say this. Our story begins in a completely different store that's attacked.
Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart. And then we never see it again. It has no bearing on the story. And I thought it was an odd place to start this. I mean, as far as they set up that there is a menace afoot, it's fine. But it has no relationship to where we're going to spend the entire rest of this movie. Which, by the way, if you're sitting around the table and you're like, I want to write a zombie movie, where haven't we done a zombie movie yet? I'm like, how about Christmas time in a toy store? I think it's a great idea. As far as concepts go and staging your zombie movie on the cheap, I thought it was a pretty brilliant idea.
Yeah.
But this was actually filmed in a shutdown Babies R Us.
I don't doubt it. But two things about that. One, that's probably where we needed to start this, not in a store, across the mall, or have them connected in some way. Instead of it being a Toys R Us, for sake of argument, have it be a KB Toys. What's the difference? KB's is actually in the mall. So, if your story is taking place in the toy store, and at some point you can maybe get out of the toy store and you can have a little bit bigger of a set piece in the greater mall, that might have made for a more interesting viewing experience. Here, they leave the Toys R Us, they're in the parking lot, and the movie's over. And again, I go back to, but you started at Walmart. Why are these things disparate and disconnected the way they are? But it was one of those things where I'm quibbling.
I do like the opening, though, even though it was at a different location, where you have people banging on the doors and the employees think, oh my God, are they that desperate to get into the shop?
I loved all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's because they're running from the monsters. It's like that was actually a very smart way to open it, because those of us who have worked retail, it's like we probably would think the same thing. It's like, oh my God, you will get your fucking flat screen TV.
I didn't even make that connection. I just thought, and that was one of the things I was thinking about, and I'm glad you actually pinged that memory for me. I like the fact that as a horror movie, it has an editorial point of view on Black Friday shopping and consumerism. I'm like, that's brilliant. But and it.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of us would have, even if it is zombies, and we know I'd still leave them.
I didn't pick up that those were zombies. I thought they were shoppers, and that was just the film's point of way of saying these people are terrible zombies, and we need to change this behavior. It reminds me of the Family Guy episode where everyone's abusing Santa. My point being, I think I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that. We get a little bit of that, like you said, with the shoppers, but I think more comments about shitty shoppers and customers wouldn't have offended me at all. I rather enjoyed that point of view.
I do love the cursing, pissed off grandma with the grandma gold necklace that one of her little grandchildren bought her or something, and how she is just chewing out the employees. That was awesome.
Look, as someone who's been there, buddy, if your germophobia is that severe, wear gloves. Put on some gloves and do your damn job. We're all stuck here. Nobody likes it.
I worked at Walmart, had a handful of people who wore not like surgical gloves, but I'm trying to think. They kind of look like those gloves of the people who work the produce aisles.
Yeah.
Where, you know what I mean? It's plastic, but it's not skin tight plastic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I remember seeing a lot of people wearing those.
Right. Anything else? Go ahead.
I think only the mild flashbacks that I got when everyone was sitting around their faux campfire talking about their history of working at that particular store.
Mm-hmm. We have all, I know I have,
Uh-huh.
in the various retail and service industry jobs that I've held in my time, there's always the sit in a circle and tell war stories.
I do love when they find the tag from the guy, the red shirt, and they go, I think this is he's like, and they say he's only been there since the first of the month. So if this is Black Friday, it's been about a month. He goes, I think this is officially the shortest time anyone's ever worked here.
That was
a great line.
That's the least believable part of this particular movie. Again, we've all done retail, so we all know there's people who are there for less than 2 weeks.
Sure. There's people there that don't make it to the end of a shift.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Still a funny line.
So, thanks for mentioning this. I wouldn't have done it, even really known about it. I saw the trailer the same as you guys, but it just wasn't going to be on my radar. So thanks for mentioning it and wanting to review it. I had fun talking about it. Let's talk briefly, because I've actually forgot to do this part of the segment yesterday. So I'll just tell you after I play the clip. Hey, before we do that, you know what this movie was missing? You know what it was missing, Robert? Do you know what it was missing?
A better score?
Yeah. It was, what it was missing? It was missing
Amazon music.
It was missing Christmas music. Authentic Christmas music. Like everyone's favorite Christmas carol. Come on, do it.
Dominic the donkey.
That's right. Hee-haw, hee-haw, hee-haw. Get out of here now.
I appreciate the fact that you're willing to put your brainwashing on the internet like this with your son.
I'm like a South American dictator. Anyway, so if you would like to hear Dominic the donkey as you trim your tree,
Yonk, yonk.
All right.
See, what's he doing? He looks like he's running laps around the kitchen table.
He went to get a vitamin water, and then I called him over and whatever. Anyway, we are giving away a free 30-day trial of the Amazon Music Unlimited service at getamazonmusic.com/W2M network for all your holiday needs for music. You can listen to Mariah Carey. You can listen to Lou Monte's Dominic, the Italian Christmas donkey. You can,
which once again, I don't think is a real thing.
You can listen to...
I went through this hell last night. I'm not saying anything.
Bing Crosby. It's all there for you on Amazon Music. And who wants to pay for Christmas music when you can stream it for free? So click our link at getamazonmusic.com/W2M network for your free 30-day trial of the Amazon Music Unlimited service. And here comes a little bit of the money.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
There's like no money to be had here. There's no budget on the Wikipedia page.
This was shot for a song.
When I go to Box Office Mojo, not only do they not have any money, but I can't find how much this thing is earned. So I
imagine we won't get that information for another couple of weeks.
Yeah, so this is just going to be a very truncated money section, because here's what happened. In all the rapid fire nonsense of yesterday, I forgot to talk about the worldwide box office. We never did. We never actually did that. So, hey, our two-part The Money segment over 2 Damn You Hollywoods. Okay, good. It's up.
It's up.
All right. So the Battle of Lake Changjing is still the #1 movie on Earth with 888 million worldwide, and Hi Mom second to that at 822 million. But No Time to Die has unseated finally, Chris Bailey, the reigning domestic champion F9 and claimed the third spot at 735 million, knocking F9 to number 4.
Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday. It's a crying shame that despite this movie, that movie performing as well as it is doing, it's going to be considered a loss.
Yep. Detective Chinatown is at number 5. So 3 out of the top 5 worldwide earners are from China, which I think is an interesting tell about the current
Two of
state
them
the movie industry.
2 of them have not had domestic United States releases.
Even better.
Look, this has been true for a couple of years now. We just haven't realized it. The most important market in the box office spectrum world is not the United States, it's China. That's been true for a few years.
Anyone? I just looked at the battle at Lake Shangji. Anyone else think it's interesting that the highest grossing film in Chinese history was commissioned by the publicity department of the Chinese Communist Party and announced as part of the 100th anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party?
I don't find that interesting at all. I find that absolutely believable. So Godzilla versus Kong is a distant 6th at this point at 467 million. Venom, much to Robert's chagrin, is racing up the charts. That's PVOD now, so I can't imagine it gets any higher than it is. I mean, like you can still find it in theaters, but
I'm going to damn this movie for the rest of its existence. It's not even a top 5 earner worldwide.
So it's PVOD as of like today or yesterday.
It's probably not. There's a non-trivial chance it's not even top 10 when it's all said and done.
Probably not. Well, I mean, Spider-Man's going to make the top 10. That's going to knock stuff down. I don't know how well West Side Story is going to do at this point. I mean, West Side Story is certainly possible, but there aren't that many movies left in 2021. The Matrix is day and date on HBO Max, so that's going to end up cannibalizing some of its earning potential. So it's like you say that, but how many movies coming out between now and January 1st do you think are that competitive?
I'd have to look specifically
I'll tell
at
you,
everything.
it's West Side Story, Spider-Man, Nightmare Alley, and The Matrix. Oh, and the Kingsman. You know,
Are we not including Encanto in that Disney family film?
True, and Encanto.
Look, again, I'm not. If it stays in the top 10, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm just saying it's underperformed to enough of a degree that I wouldn't be shocked if it hangs on either at number 10 or 11.
So the interesting thing about Venom, since we're on that subject, is that it made 207 million domestic, 248 million foreign. Just fascinated by the fact that it made almost equal money in both parts of the world. Yeah, only because a lot of times it's so lopsided.
Yeah,
you know.
Look, this is what happens when equal parts of the entire world realize it's crap. You get about the same returns no matter where you are.
So Venom is now PVOD. Shang-Chi is now on Disney Plus, and that's at number 8.
Shang-Chi's dead
With 430 million. Black Widow knocked lower than it had been at 379. Dune is the most successful movie day and date. It is the most financially successful movie that went day and date upon release worldwide
by a wide margin.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how well it does. I mean, I think the 4K Blu-ray is now out, and I think it might be leaving HBO Max shortly. But I don't know how much better it's going to do than it's doing right now.
Yeah, it's going to leave HBO Max for a few months and then come back. Like that's kind of the cycle of these things.
Well, I mean, as far as earning potential, I think it's just about run out of gas. Eternals.
Anybody that's gonna the last gasp for Dune's earning potential is people buying it for Christmas. After that, we're kind of done.
So I'll say this now, and I know Chris Bailey at one point was listening, and he might listen back. We have a bet going that if Eternals doesn't crack 500 million, I will apologize publicly to him on TikTok and say he was right. So I'm writing up my TikTok now because it's not going to make it. It's currently.
I should have bet you about this thing cracking the top 10 at all because I'm dubious.
You know what? I was thinking fondly back to our conversation we had a few months ago. Now, you got to understand. So people understand why I'm bringing this up. We were having a conversation pre-Delta variant about the healthiness of theaters. And my contention was I posited that by November, if there are no further disruptions to the theater market via COVID, or vaccination rates, etc., I can't see this thing making less than 700 million. Here's the problem. Over the summer, we had a huge variant of COVID, and a lot of, I think I talked about my wife on like the first day of school, for about the first month or so. So in Florida, that would be August. She had like 5 kids in the classroom at any given time because everybody was getting COVID and everybody was going into quarantine, which doesn't make for a really robust theater environment. So, I mean, when you think
what's
about...
the excuse come November?
Huh?
What's the excuse for this flopping when it released, when it did?
Just go ahead and make your point, because I don't know what it is you're trying to tell me.
Look, you said that assuming no disruption to the theater experience, you anticipate...
I stand by that. I stand by that if we had not had the summer of COVID, this thing would have done at least better than it's doing now.
Okay, here's my counterpoint.
Okay.
If this had been released during the summer, I think your argument holds a tremendous amount of weight. In fact, I think countervailing points would be stupid. This released in November. This released 3 to 5 months after the Delta wave peaked and then receded.
Okay. Hang on. Before you continue your point, because I know what you're getting at, my only thing with that is I think if people... You're talking about bravery, about going back to the theaters. A lot of people just went back. There are more people would have gone back by November had there not been a disruption in the summer that caused people to go back into their houses and not want to brave the theater. That's the point that I'm making.
I think the only argument you have is that COVID killed so many people. That's what bit into this thing's earning potential. This thing flopped because no one cared.
I mean, that's certainly one argument.
Now, look. In a world where COVID is properly contained by the Chinese government when it first breaks out, I might be with you about this thing being more on the, $500 to $700 million range. I don't think even under ideal circumstances this cracks $1 billion. There's a lot of reasons for it. I
never said it was going to.
No, I know. Like, this is me saying that in a vacuum more.
Okay.
Like, I think this had a lower ceiling than most people, especially most, MCU apologists. I'll say that not unkindly. Not unkindly. Especially a lower ceiling than most apologists were looking at. But I think between COVID and just no one caring, like even if the Delta variant never hits, I don't think you're getting to 700 million, even under your positive circumstance for 2021.
Okay, therein lies the debate.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's my take on it.
Eternals is not the point. And the whole reason I went into all of that side tangent was I think under everything we just said with all the variables, I still thought it might crack 500 million. It's not going to. I'm not insane. I know how to do math. So I will be.
Unless it gets released in China tomorrow and the Chinese government decides to make it part of their celebration.
Thank you for pinging that, because that's the thing I wanted to bring up. The only other thing interesting to talk about as far as money goes is how much Hollywood has swung and missed getting anything into China this past year.
No, not Hollywood. Not Hollywood.
Disney?
Hollywood has had plenty that was released there. Disney has not.
Okay.
Black Widow, in addition to being kind of like, we talked for a while about why Black Widow was going to struggle for a variety of reasons. I think Black Widow was released in China. I'd have to double check, but Shang-Chi did not get released in China.
Right.
That hurt its overall box office. Eternals did not get released in China. Look, say whatever you want about how bad how bad Eternals is, and we talked about it at length.
Plug.
Just opening in that market for a theatrical run would tack another 200 million onto this thing, even if it's a bunch of like one and doneers.
Right.
Like, you're looking at a significant increase in total revenue that would push you more towards the $500 million mark.
Sure.
And you're not going to get it because the Chinese government is the Chinese government, and I don't feel compelled to go into any great detail about that.
There's no need. But yeah, I Disney, and it's interesting because Disney has now doubled down and saying more representation of minorities, more representation of the LGBTQI community, and China be damned. And China went, damn us if you want, but we're still not letting your movie in. And that's a consideration when you think about what they're going to green light and how they're going to distribute their pictures.
Well, to be clear also about the Chinese and their censorship laws. it's not just the LGBTQI apostrophe Z Batman symbol crowd. It's not just that. Like they did not sanction. They did not say Eternals can't come in because there's a gay guy because there are two men kissing. They can just say you have to cut that scene out of your movie to be released here. And let's be clear, Disney would have. You can still have those two being the parents of that child. If there's no kissing, they probably don't care.
Right.
I mean, look, the other thing Disney does for almost all of their Marvel movies, believe it or not, they shoot scenes that are exclusive to the Chinese audience.
Yeah, we made the joke about that in Fast and the Furious, and France gets it all.
Yeah, look, Eternals got the axe because Chloe Zhao, the director, has been critical of the Chinese government, and they don't appreciate criticism in any form.
All right, so to finish up with the money here, so
Free Guy.
Free Guy is at number 12. A Quiet Place 2 remains at 13. Cruella 14. Not a whole lot of movement at this point once you get into the 10 to 20 range. My Country, My Parents at 220. Jungle Cruise, which is now on Disney Plus, at 219. Raging Fire, The Conjuring.
I need to watch that again. That was a fun movie. I had a lot of fun with Jungle Cruise.
Cliff Walkers walks out at number 20. So that is where we are worldwide.
Hey, look at number 22. Just because I have to make the joke.
Yep, every single time.
Every single time.
Some real quick movie news. I don't know if I brought this up yesterday. I know, I think I did, but I told my son today he was thrilled about this. That Cliff, despite being day and date and not making a tremendous amount of money, Clifford got greenlit for a sequel.
Your son. We heard your son squeeing in the background.
Okay, I wasn't sure. All right. Well, with that said, let's go ahead.
He went into another room and exploded.
We actually watched it this morning in preparation for the triple feature tomorrow after Thanksgiving dinner. It's not a bad movie. It's a cute little family film. You know,
I will.
All you can ask for.
I will take your word for it.
I already have an incredibly destructive dog. I don't need to watch a movie with another one.
Look, I thought the cartoon was what you wanted out of your sappy Clifford the Big Red Dog stories. I don't need the live action.
It was a perfectly nice family film, you awful cynics. Here we go with the Rotten Tomatoes.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
All right. The critical review is brought to you by Grammarly. Grammarly, for you listeners of Damn You Hollywood, is offering a free download of the Grammarly software. Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps you write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly anywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, spelling mistakes while also catching contextual errors, improving your vocabulary, and suggesting style improvements. To download Grammarly today, go to getgrammarly.com/W2M network. Again, that's getgrammarly.com/W2M network to download Grammarly for free. All right. So the critics thought, meh. The audience, meh.
Seems about fair.
So
at least it was meh and not meh.
Yeah.
Look, I said this is a good B movie. It's not quite B plus territory, but it's not B minus either.
Cat Hughes of THN. Black Friday lands somewhere between Cooties and Krampus, with a touch of Grady Hendrix's novel Horror Store, making it a truly enigmatic movie to pin down. You know, I've heard people review Krampus as like one of the best horror movies they've ever seen. So I'm not entirely sure where she's coming from.
I watch Krampus every Christmas.
I don't think it's one of the best horror movies I've ever seen, but it's certainly not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's fun to watch something a little different on Christmas because Lord knows I got tired of watching A Christmas Story 20 times a day.
Look, my family's tradition is Die Hard, Gremlins, and A Christmas Story.
Ours is Die Hard, Krampus, and Home Alone.
I don't believe in traditions or nostalgia. My son and I are gonna watch my son and I are going to watch 8-Bit Christmas because it's new. It's new. Do you understand? It's new and it's exciting and it's new.
Does that mean, no tradition? You'll get rid of Dominic the Christmas donkey?
It's not tradition. It's patriotic.
I was gonna look. When did your alleged donkey song come out? In what year?
19 Shut up.
No, seriously, when did it come out?
I will look before we're done here.
All
Can I
right.
please continue with the bit though?
Yeah, sure.
Um,
I don't believe in history or nostalgia.
books are for
Meanwhile, in the car, Lou Monte.
Lou Monte's Jingle Bells is an amazing song, okay?
I'll take your word for it.
Brian Tallarico of RogerEbert.com, talk critic. An easy watch in a B-movie marathon, but you'll have forgotten it by the time you're done with Thanksgiving leftovers.
I'm not so sure that's accurate.
Yeah, I don't believe
I think that's I think that's ignoring the good parts of this particular film. To say that it could be dismissed that easily. Also, but you write for RogerEbert.com. You can't possibly give this movie a positive review and keep your job.
Trace Thurman of Bloody Disgusting. Black Friday turns out to be a dad joke of a movie. Obvious, predictable, and corny.
No, it's not.
One, it's not quite as predictable as it could have been. I don't think it's corny.
I don't either.
And again, I do also have to bring up, it's not like those are necessarily always universally negative traits for a movie that is trying to do this to have.
Yeah. All right, last one. Robert Kurtzman's special effects endure, but it's a halfway there effort, both as holiday horror and workplace horror. And that's Matt Donato of The Gist.
Yeah, again, we mentioned, the effects are probably the best thing about this particular movie. I'm a little bit not sure why he would kind of straddle the line here between like zombie horror and workplace horror. The workplace is the setting. This is not a workplace horror film.
No, and this is a commentary, if anything at all, on consumerism and the hyper shopping experience of Black Friday shopping. It's not really talking
just with like 1/10 the deftness of George Romero. And to be clear, Romero was not a subtle man.
It's not commenting on retail at large. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it. That is our Black Friday review. This is fun. One guy referred to the movie as blessedly short, which I concur with. That was somebody Orndorff of Blu-ray.com.
It's an hour and a half. It's
a brisk 9 minutes.
So tomorrow is Thanksgiving as we're recording this, and we're going to re-air our Metallica Saint Anger review, and then my son and I, as I mentioned before,
as a gift to all the listeners, listen to Mark and Robert Cooper tear that thing apart.
Yup, Lars Ulrich banging on pots and pans. My son and I are going to eat Thanksgiving dinner, and then the first opportunity we can get the hell out of my in-laws, we are going to jump into the car a la Dukes of Hazzard and drive home to do a triple feature for Clifford the Big Red Dog, Home Sweet Home Alone, which I saved Robert and Ronnie Adams from.
We appreciate it.
And 8-Bit Christmas, because it's new. It's not a Christmas Story and Die Hard and all your every year the same thing. We're a cutting edge family. Okay, cutting
hang on.
edge.
Yeah. You really want? Are we gonna? If I were to ask your wife about your,
she's more traditional than I am.
I'm just saying.
She hangs on to those traditions.
Would she support your stance on this, or would she not?
Okay, so to settle this now, Dominic the Italian Christmas Donkey was a B-side of Christmas at Our House that was released in December of 1960.
So, yeah. You who have no attachment to the past, the memory of the goldfish Mark Radulich, for whom everything resets every 2.5 minutes.
Lou Monte is forever. All right.
In another 5 years, The Wire will qualify as classic television in terms of just age,
and then I'll hate it.
And then
and when everyone's like, The Wire, childhood, there I'll be going, it's awful, it's rotten. Why can't we listen and watch new things?
Okay, I gotta ask something. So if
that's right about the time they remake The Wire in movie format.
Okay, Mark, if that's your favorite Christmas song, Robert, what is your favorite traditional Christmas song? What's the song you play every year that really gets you in the Christmas mood?
What's your Dominic the Donkey?
My imaginary friend? I I don't think I have one, to be honest.
You've had Christmas garland hanging up behind you every night that we record.
Well, look, it's easier to leave it up than to take it down, and that's just bare wall otherwise, so it just stays up.
Okay.
Look, the Christmas tree is going to be up until about April. I'm just warning
Find
everybody.
a way to answer her question, please. I don't care at this point what you say. If you say Christmas slippers, I'm going to move on from this segment. Just
look, anyone who says Christmas shoes needs to have their kneecaps broken, first of all.
No argument. No argument.
I mean, probably Weird Al. It's probably the night Santa went crazy.
Oh,
That's
that
a
is
good one.
one of the few things that, because a lot you and my wife have so many like similarities. It's really funny. Just the age thing and like the cultural stuff. But I'll tell you what, the one time I played The Night Santa Went Crazy and Christmas at Ground Zero while we were trimming the Christmas tree was the one time she put a ban on a Christmas song that I played. Like she will tolerate Homo Christmas by the Queers off my punk rock Christmas album before she will listen to another Weird Al Christmas song. True story.
I suppose if I had a secondary one, for a really bizarre reason, actually, but the Chipmunks singing the Chipmunk song.
Okay,
which one
that's a classic. What about you, Alexis? What's your favorite Christmas song?
The one that I play, I think I mentioned before to you, Mark, that I'm a huge fan of big band and swing.
Yeah.
And my favorite Christmas album to listen to is actually the Big Bad Voodoo Daddies Christmas album. And my favorite song on there is their cover of Heat Miser.
So next Christmas, it's a show we did years ago on the Metal Hammer of Doom, but I put together an entire playlist of various like metal Christmas songs. So it was like Christopher Lee and King Diamond. And
I demand that you share this publicly again.
I second that.
I'm re-airing it next year.
No. I need your list, not the episode.
Okay.
I need the list of songs.
I will find it for you. It was a really fun episode to do. There was like Twisted Sister on there. One day I should just review the actual Twisted Sister Christmas album, but this will not be that year. This year we're doing Poppy. Yay, Poppy! Oh, Poppy! All right.
Why do you keep doing that to yourself?
What, Poppy?
Yeah, I'm genuinely like I know she entered your consciousness because of her NXT association.
Mm-hmm. No, she entered my consciousness because she put out a metal album. And when we researched what it was and who she was, I thought her whole history was so hilarious. I became obsessed.
Okay.
And Mark, have we met?
Okay. So I suppose a better question is your actual plan to continue reviewing her work until she self-destructs.
Correct.
And by self-destructs, I mean actually stops making music, not has the full-blown meltdown. Because then when she comes back, you'll still do it.
No, I will continue to review. That's like Baby Metal. I'll continue to review albums she puts out until she stops putting out albums, or until
Baby Metal. Look, Baby Metal at least draws decent traffic.
Well, all right.
When people aren't calling you a racist.
that was one time for one thing I did, and I apologize, kinda. All right, and then Friday we've got some re-airs of some Clutch stuff that we did, plus the Celtic Frost Cold Lake, and we may or may not now, depending on Jesse's schedule, be doing a live stream of Live from the Doom Saloon Volume 4. Robert and I will do commentary for Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosis. And then Sunday, we have a re-airing of our Swamp Thing review. We'll have Disney trivia. And then in the evening, a review cum therapy session for You Season 2 with drunkards Jason Teasley and Pat Mullen. Oh boy, oh rapture.
All three of you being partially hammered on that episode.
I just listened to that before we went on tonight.
The funniest thing I've ever heard. Like that's what I laughed so hard at that podcast.
What was the best part of that podcast was how like Pat just got increasingly more slurring as it went on. By the end, he could not form words.
And then left early.
Yeah, and then left early.
For those who have just tuned in, the Pinedale Shopping Mall has just been bombed with live turkeys filmed at 11.
I swear to God, I thought turkeys could fly.
Yep, I have to break out my WKRP turkey drop shirt for tomorrow. I
told myself I was going to find some way to work that in since this is the night before Thanksgiving.
Perfect. Keep going with your plugs.
Me?
You were doing plugs, sir.
I was, but yeah. Keep going, with your plugs.
Fair enough. Okay, so like we mentioned last night, we're also getting ready to record Tripped Up Trivia for December, in which we will be discussing Christmas trivia. The three categories are Christmas movies, Christmas songs, and Christmas traditions. So if you think that you can best the other contestants on your knowledge of the most wonderful time of the year, hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. Let us know. We are always looking for more contestants. And on a personal note, Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic. For those of you who did enjoy Black Friday and love a little bit of horror, even around this time of year, we have tons of awesome horror-related jewelry that I think you're going to love. In addition to our pieces made from upcycled Clue tokens, we have a handful of pieces celebrating Beetlejuice, like our necklace featuring the handbook for the recently deceased. We have our blood bag earrings, always a lot of fun. We have our lament configuration hairbread. Pretty sure it doesn't count as actually opening the box if you're just using the sides.
We hope not.
Yeah, no kidding. And of course, we are kicking off our Black Friday sale starting tomorrow. Everything is going to be 20% off in both stores. That's Etsy and Handmade at Amazon. And we're also going to be kicking off our charity drive. Every individual order that is placed between Black Friday and Christmas Eve, we will donate $5 to St. Jude's Charity Hospital. Yes, are you donating too, Cleo? Good to know. Don't make that noise. It freaks me out. She sounded like she was going to throw up in my lap there. So again, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's Honeysuckle Rose Creations, the intersection of geek and chic.
All right, Robert, sing Dominic the Donkey. Go.
It's not a real song. I cover professional wrestling and mixed martial arts for 411mania.com. My review of this week's AEW Dark Elevation is up. MLW is releasing their episode tomorrow, so my review for that will be up as it goes on.
For fuck's sake.
Please continue.
And, and Friday, I will cover WWE SmackDown and try desperately not to commit suicide.
Oh, how cheerful.
Yes. Yes, the WWE. The most, because I think of cheer when I think of their product.
Anything else?
Saturday, as Mark mentioned, live watch-along stuff for Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos, as there is no UFC event. Upcoming week, same thing, because professional wrestling doesn't take time off. So AEW on Monday, MLW on Wednesday, and SmackDown on Fridays. And yeah, I host the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast. If you're interested in that, please give it a listen. This last episode, fairly short, a look back at the previous week's episode and some talk about Bud Crawford and Sean Porter. This week will be a preview of the next fight night, headlined by Jose Aldo and Rob Font. I believe it's UFC on ESPN 31. I think 31. I'll double check at some point. Either way, so if you're interested, give that a listen. I appreciate all the support that I can get over there. I thank you all very much for that. We have a double shot next week of Damn You Hollywood, one for Encanto, one for Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City.
One of those is getting praise on Rotten Tomatoes. The other, not so much.
Yep.
I can't imagine which one is which.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us here on...
Although, given that Encanto opened with a short about raccoons...
Yeah. My wife said it wasn't the best one she's ever seen. I at least... As a parent, and we can talk more about this on Monday, but as a parent, it struck me pretty well, and it resonated with me, and I rather enjoyed it. But I don't disagree with my wife's opinion that there have been better shorts. So.
Much. Well, again, this was also just straight Disney, not Disney Pixar, and the Pixar shorts are really the gold standard.
Yep. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us here on Damn You Hollywood. Have a happy Thanksgiving. For Alexis, Hejna, Robert Winfree, I'm Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.